What is going on YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today we are hitting the Reg G ranked ladder with this Dawn Wings Necrozma team. We are going to run Terra Fairy on this thing to make sure that we don't get blown up by either Ghost or Dark types. We have the Psychic Seed here to pair with Dawn Wings to give it a special defense boost once we have Psychic terrain on the field. Joining Dawn Wings today is going to be Indeedee, so therefore, there's our Psychic terrain setter. We have Hisuian Lilligant, Torkoal, Ursaluna Bloodmoon, and Kingambit. I'm excited to try out Kingambit. I don't remember if I've brought Kingambit to the channel before. I don't really know if I've used it, but I'm excited to try it out since it is a really cool design. We have Ursaluna Bloodmoon, which I have brought to the ladder, and it's going to be fun. We have Life Orb on that, Terra Normal, all the typical Bloodmoon shenanigans. We have Torkoal and Lilligant for a fast outside of Trick Room mode with After You shenanigans. We have the Ice Spinner on Lilligant in case we run into Miraidons, and then that way we can just remove the electric terrain. With Chlorophyll doubling our speed, Hisuian Lilligant should be able to outspeed Miraidons, no problem. We have the After You for the Torkoal to get some Eruption cheese out if we want to go for that big damage. We also have Terra Ghost on this thing, so we don't have to worry about Fake Out. If we're a little bit more confident in our Necrozma matchup, we can pop the Terra Ghost and go from there. We also have the Focus Sash on Hisuian Lilligant to make sure that it does survive a hard-hitting blow. Because we are going to be turning into a Ghost type, we are going to make ourselves weak to opposing Shadow Rider Astral Barrages, Lunala Moongeist Beams, as well as Necrozma Moongeist Beams and Fluttermane Shadow Balls, so kind of nice to have that Focus Sash for a little bit of insurance. On our Torkoal here, we do have the Terrifier, so if we need to go for big damage and we're not too worried about going for damage off of the Necrozma, we can pop the Terrifier and we can go for Eruption. We have Covert Cloak here on Torkoal in case we are a little bit weary of Fake Out going into the Torkoal slot instead of the Lilligant slot. The main way to get around a Lilligant is if the Lilligant has the Covert Cloak, well then you just Fake Out the Torkoal. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the Covert Cloak here on Torkoal, and then that way, if my opponent tries to Fake Out Torkoal and we pop the Terra Ghost and just preemptively, and they went for the Torkoal, well, we have a little bit of insurance that way. And with the Sun boosting up Torkoal's Eruption, we don't necessarily need to worry too much about the Terra Fire. And if we're looking for some damage with Lilligant, and my opponent might think Torkoal is going for an Eruption, go for a Wide Guard, well, we can go Helping Hand with Torkoal into Lilligant, and Lilligant can do some major damage with either Close Combat or Leaf Blade, or, like I mentioned earlier, Ice Spinner. So that's the main thing about Lilligant and Torkoal. With Indeedee, we have Alluring Voice on it, so it's a single target fairy type attack. We have Protect, just to try to have a little bit of insurance. We have Follow Me to redirect attacks away, and we have Trick Room here for Indeedee. And we also have Trick Room on the Necrozma. So if we pair Necrozma and Indeedee onto the field at the same time, we're going to be playing some games with our opponents to see if we're going for Trick Room with the Necrozma or the Indeedee. And Necrozma can go for some major damage with the Expanding Force on the Psychic terrain, so that could always be nice as well. Maybe my opponent thinks we're going for Trick Room and they have a means of canceling out Trick Room. Well, we just go for the Follow Me Expanding Force instead. So there's that. That's the team in a nutshell. Let's jump right on in to the battles. All right, we've got a Coridon team with Archaladon, Whimsicott, Chiyu, Chien-Pao, and Incineroar. So, Necrozma really doesn't like the 3 dark types there, but Terra Fairy could be really nice, especially since we'll also be able to still have a resistance to Coridon's fighting type attacks. Now, not the most optimal, but since there is going to be Sun on the field, that could be really nice for the team in general. So I think what we're going to try to do is I think we're going to bleed Indeedee and Necrozma. I think we're going to try to get the Trick Room up. And then if we get Trick Room up, we can do some major damage with Torkoal in the back maybe, and Ursaluna looks really nice as well, especially since Hyper Voice will still hit Ghost types thanks to the effects of Mind's Eye. So Ursaluna looks like it could be really nice here. I don't think we bring the After You mode for... Ooh, After You Trick Room could be good too. Yeah, okay. That might not be the worst thing imaginable either. Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to go against it, though. I think we're just going to bring the Torkoal here, and then that way we can do some big damage. I don't think we bring Kingambit, because the Steel typing is not going to be the greatest, especially since we're going to be looking to terrestrialize Dawn Wings here, so I think Kingambit and Lilligant can stay on the bench here, but we do have some major damage with the Torkoal with the Eruptions. We also have the very good possibility that Coridon sets the sun for us, and then Torkoal could potentially reset it. So we do have that. And plus, Helping Hand off Torkoal could be nice. So we have Coridon Whimsicott right out of the gate. So what I could do is I can follow me with Indeedee and maybe Trick Room with Necrozma, and then Expanding Force. That could be really nice, especially since the... Yeah, I don't have to worry about Taunt necessarily off of the Whimsicott because of the Psychic Terrain. So I think we follow me with Indeedee, and I think we go for the Trick Room. That said, Expanding Force might not be the worst thing either. I kind of want to go for the Expanding Force just for the raw damage, try to get Whimsicott off the field. I think we still follow me, and then this way, we don't have to worry too much about Necrozma. Going for Trick Room, something happening to my terrain, and then a Taunt coming my way. So I think we just go for the damage, try to get rid of the Whimsicott. We have Terra Water Coridon here, so that's different. You don't normally see that. I kind of wonder how that works for Grass-type matchups as well as Raging Bolt matchups. So there's an Encore coming, but that doesn't matter because of the Psychic Terrain. They have the Swords Dance. That's a little bit concerning, but you know what? I think what we're going to do here now is we'll get our Expanding Force off, and now we're just going to try to get the Trick Room off. So we bring Whimsicott down to a Sash. Getting Trick Room up might be nice right here, especially since we can still follow me away attacks from Coridon. And if they go for Flare Blitz into Indeedee, that could be great with the Rocky Helmet. So let's see right here. We got a Tailwind coming out. Nice. All right. So Indeedee's going to pull away whatever Coridon does. We go for the Trick Room. Drain Punch does hurt, but you know what? Not the worst case scenario for me. Coridon gets some HP back, but now I have my Rocky Helmet chipped, reducing some of the damage they healed up, and now we can go for the Expanding Force into Coridon. We can get rid of the Whimsicott, and because Indeedee can attack as well, we can just double up into the Coridon, and that should be enough to finish it off. So they're just committing to the raw damage, but the Trick Room is definitely going to ruin their day because now they have the Tailwind really slowing them down in the Trick Room. We got the Expanding Force off, and we just pick up the double knockout right there. So Coridon is gone, Whimsicott is gone. So now Necrozma can go for some major damage, and it still has all of its HP intact, so we don't have to worry about that. And plus, we also have the Prism Armor to help reduce the super effective damage, so Necrozma's off to a really good start. We got rid of Coridon, we got rid of Whimsicott. The Incineroar's coming in here. I think what we do is we Terra Fairy, and I think we go for the Earth Power into the Incin. Chien-Pao could be a little bit unpleasant, but I don't think that's going to be the worst thing imaginable. Yeah, I think we pop the Terra Fairy just so we're not weak to dark type attacks. I think we Earth Power the Incineroar. And I think we just Alluring Voice into the Chien-Pao slot. I think that's what we do. Indeedee is going to be... Indeedee's going to probably be a little bit slower than Incin. Incineroar might actually be faster than both of them in the Trick Room, since Necrozma's base speed is 77 in Dawn Wings, and Indeedee's like naturally 85. Oh, that said, they do have the Tailwind still working for them, so we do get to we get to outspeed both of them, and we take about half of their HP each. So there's the Snarl. I'm not too worried about that. Chien-Pao can do some damage to Necrozma, but Necrozma's going to do some major damage back, and plus, I can bring in Torkoal now. I still have the Trick Room. I can Eruption. And we still have the Psychic Terrain, too, so we have our Terra working very nicely to deal with the Chien-Pao. Incineroar's leftovers, which, honestly, we did a little bit more than half their HP with the Earth Power, so that's nice. I could just bring in the Bloodmoon, but I think we're going to bring in the Torkoal. I think we're going to go for the Eruption while we have the Sun, and then Bloodmoon can clean up here. So, how many turns of Trick Room? They have 1 turn of Tailwind left. They have 2 turns. We have 2 turns of Trick Room, and we have 1 turn of Psychic Terrain. So, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to Earth Power, and I'm going to click the Eruption just to get for the major damage right here. So, Torkoal's going to pull off that Eruption right there. That's Chien-Pao gone, and Necrozma is going to clean up, even with the -1 special attack drop. We're going to finish it at that range, no problems. So that was a relatively smooth match. The Swords Dance Coridon definitely had the potential to give me a hard time, but thankfully Psychic Terrain plus the Expanding Force was just way too much for the Coridon to deal with. And plus, it helped that they set the Tailwind, making them faster while Trick Room went up and getting the insurance for Necrozma and Indeedee both to outspeed that Incineroar in the Trick Room, because the Snarl prior to the Earth Power would have made a big difference for my opponent. So I'm very fortunate about how that worked out. Good game to my opponent. Woohoo! We got Giratina Origin. All right. We also got Raging Bull, Urshifu, Ogerpon Cornerstone, Rillaboom, and Pelipper. As someone who had a delightful time of Origin Giratina, I definitely approve. I definitely approve of that. So, what do I want to do? Torkoal Lilligant might be nice here. Torkoal is slower than Pelipper, so I could definitely keep my Drought. Now, Lilligant could do some decent damage to the Giratina. I think we bring Indeedee in the lead here. I think maybe what we do is, I think we bring maybe the Kingambit just to apply some pressure. Now, if that's an Urshifu single strike, not the greatest for Kingambit, but I kind of want to bring Kingambit for the Dark typing to deal with the Giratina and the Steel typing to deal with the Ogerpon. So I kind of want to bring that. Let's see. I think maybe we bring Necrozma. You know what? They have some Pokemon that don't really appreciate the After You Eruption. I think we bring the Necrozma, and I think we bring the Indeedee. I think we try to do the After You shenanigans. Yeah, I kind of want to do this. This might be bad. The first idea might have been a little bit better, but you know what? We're gonna try it. We're gonna try the After You Lilligant and the Torkoal. Yeah, I also like the idea of going for the Ice Spinner into things too, so there is that with the Helping Hand. So let's see here. It is Rillaboom, Ogerpon. Great. Okay. So, I could pop the Terra Ghost, and I can Eruption with Torkoal, and we can just blast these two right here. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to pop the Terra Ghost, and then this way we have the After You. We're becoming immune to Fake Out. Neither one of these two Pokemon can be Faked Out. If the Ogerpon Ghost will follow me, great. We don't have to worry about Eruption getting... we don't have to worry about an Ivy Cudgel. Yeah, we don't have to worry about a Spiky Shield. So Lilligant becomes a Ghost type here. We get this Eruption off. This is going to be fun. Alright, so here's the Fake Out into the Torkoal. Covert Cloak is going to help us out. There's the After You. And my opponent's going to be in for a very nasty time. Get him, Eruption. So, bye-bye. Most of their HP. Okay, so you know what? That's unfortunate. But you know what we can do now? Now we can go for the Moongeist Beam or the Trick Room. We do have that. Yeah, we could go for the Trick Room right here. Honestly, Lilligant's Ice Spinner could be really nice too. Like, I think I could just Ice Spinner the Ogerpon and go for the Trick Room with Necrozma. I don't really think we need to go for the After You. So I think we're going to Trick Room here, and I think we're gonna Ice Spinner and try to pick off the Ogerpon since they can redirect. So I think we go for that. I think we just let Lilligant do what it needs to do, and then we can just switch Lilligant out for Indeedee, and then we can Expanding Force the following turn. Now, Giratina could be a little bit of a problem because of the bulk on that thing, but overall, not going to be the worst thing imaginable. So, no Follow Me off of the Ogerpon. We get to pick up the Ice Spinner to knock it out, and next turn, we can bring in the Psychic Terrain, which will let the... Oh, yeah, that's the other thing, too. We naturally destroy the Grassy Terrain with the Ice Spinner. Forget about that effect, which that's a nice bonus. So, and now there's no priority for Rillaboom. We can switch in Indeedee, get the Psychic Terrain up, and then we can have a spread Expanding Force, which would be nice. Pelipper comes in here, which I'm not too weary of. Honestly, a Moongeist Beam into Pelipper could be nice, and Lilligant does have its Focus Sash, so I think we just try to get rid of the Rillaboom here, and then that way we should be in an okay position. for Indeedee to come in here. Yeah, I think we'll just go for the Rillaboom. Lilligant's going to be the slowest thing on the field, but that's alright. Necrozma should be able to deal with Pelipper at this range. Okay, maybe not. We don't quite have enough to knock it out, but we are going to at least get in Indeedee. Necrozma takes a critical hit, which is not great, and a Wood Hammer, so we are going to lose Necrozma, but we did get to do some good damage. We got the Trick Room up, which is going to help Indeedee in the long run. So what I can do here with Lilligant is I can try to get rid of the Pelipper, maybe go for a Leaf Blade, and then we can just go from there. So the special defense drop is not going to be the worst thing for me, since I do have that Sash, and I can always redirect away with Follow Me. So we'll get our Psychic Terrain up. I think Giratina is going to be the last Pokemon here, so we just got to figure out how to get around that. No, it's actually Urshifu. Alright, so you know what? That's fine. I have a Rocky Helmet on my Indeedee. So if that's Sashed Urshifu, what I can do is I can Follow Me. How many turns is Trick Room? 3. Okay. So I think I pull away whatever attack they're going for, and I think I go for the Urshifu here, but if they go for Detect, that's the problem. Yeah. That is a big problem if they go for Detect here and Pelipper gets to attack. But that said, that does stall another turn to Trick Room, so Wide Guard is coming out of Pelipper. Great. We're not going for any spread moves here. They might have expected a Dazzling Gleam off of Indeedee, but I just want Urshifu to hit Indeedee and break its potential Focus Sash. So here we go. Rocky Helmet is going to clean this up. So a little bit of a shame about Necrozma, but thanks to Lilligant having a Focus Sash and not having its Sash broken, that's great. And plus Indeedee gets to hang in there. And look at all that damage we did just with the Rocky Helmet alone. So that's just an easy cleanup into the Urshifu. And now what I can do, just to be safe, is I Follow Me with Indeedee, and I Leaf Blade the Pelipper. That's all I have to do now. So we Follow Me, and we Leaf Blade right here. And that's going to wrap things up right there. My opponent does forfeit. So Necrozma got the Trick Room off. It was a bit unfortunate that we took that critical hit off of the Pelipper, since that did so much damage. But if Necrozma hadn't have taken the critical hit, we did have the Expanding Force in the background. So overall, pretty successful time. Very happy with how that played out. Good game to my opponent. Alright, we've got a Shadow Rider team here with Clefairy, Urshifu, Farigiraf, Ogerpon Cornerstone, and Tornadus. Now, outside of the Urshifu, Kingambit looks really nice here. So does the Ursaluna. So I think maybe what we try to do is we try to get the Trick Room up, and then we go with Kingambit or the Dawn Wings right here. So I think maybe what we do is we lead Indeedee. I think we lead Indeedee here, but I think maybe what we do is we go for the Bloodmoon or the Kingambit, and then that way we can apply some pressure to the Calyrex. Or what I do is I go Kingambit in the lead with maybe Necrozma, and then that way, if I'm worried about an Astral Barrage, I can switch in the Indeedee and just Trick Room with Necrozma. And then that way I have Expanding Force to hit through the Follow Me off of the Clefairy or the Ogerpon for that matter. So I think we do that. I think we bring in Indeedee. We really need to get Trick Room up here, and then once we do, we should be able to do some major damage. The question is do I want Ursaluna or Torkoal? Because I don't want to deal with Rain Dance shenanigans. I also don't want to have two things weak to fighting types. But you know what? We're going to bring the Ursaluna. Yeah, running out of time there. So we're going to bring the Ursaluna. We'll have the access to the Hyper Voice, which will do some good damage. If I don't pop the Terra Fairy on Necrozma, I can easily go for the Terra Normal on the Ursaluna to try to do some major damage. Kingambit does threaten the Calyrex, which is nice. So it is going to be Ogerpon for Farigiraf. Okay, so that's nice. What I can do here is I can Iron Head into the Ogerpon or Kowtow into the Farigiraf. I think I Kowtow into the Farigiraf, and that's the main thing that gets around my Trick Room, because they might just Trick Room on me or in prison. Does Farigiraf get in prison? I don't know. But anyways, we'll go for the Kowtow into the Ogerpon, and this will cover our bases if the Farigiraf has some protection with Follow Me off the Ogerpon. So they're going to protect. All right, are they a fairy type? Oh, you know what? The Iron Head would have been the safer bet, actually. Because then it would have been super effective damage. But you know what? That's fine. I walked right into that with the Kowtow. Not the worst thing imaginable. I'm going to take an Ivy Cudgel off Ogerpon, which, you know what? That's fine. They do have Imprison, so I'm glad I didn't go for the Trick Room. I'm just naturally that slow. So we're going to get our Moongeist Beam off into the... We'll get the Moongeist Beam off into the Ogerpon, which is major damage right there. So now what I can do is... I think I can Iron Head into the Ogerpon and just leave Farigiraf alone. I think I switch in either Indeedee or Ursaluna. Honestly, they went for the Ivy Cudgel, so I think I'm going to bring in the Ursaluna just so I have the Hyper Voice. And then that way, Necrozma can switch out, we can preserve our Terra, and we can go from there. So, with the Steel Psychic, or the Steel Dark typing on Kingambit and the Assault Vest, we should be able to handle the Farigiraf defensively. And Ursaluna can just go for some damage. So, there's the Follow Me, which is fine. I wanted to get that thing off of the field. And getting it off the field means we can just do some major damage. So, there's a foul play. Not going to do anything to this special attacking variant of the bear, so that's good. Ogerpon goes down. So, what I would love to do is I would love to get that Farigiraf off the field, which Hyper Voice will definitely help. And if they bring Clefairy, I just Iron Head. All right, no. So, it's going to be the Ursaluna, or the Urshifu, so that's a tad concerning. That is very concerning, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. I think what I do is... I think I low kick into the Urshifu, and I think I just Hyper Voice. I mean, Ursaluna, one of these two Pokemon is going down. Especially with the Helping Hand. But you know what? That's fine. If it's a Wicked Blow into... Yeah, it's a Wicked Blow. Okay, so we get to survive. That's great. In theory, this should just get rid of the Urshifu, and that's going to be a huge threat from my opponent's team just gone. So they had a Citrus Berry off of the Farigiraf right there, so that's good information. And we're going to get the low kick off into the Urshifu. So Urshifu goes down, and now the biggest threat to 3 out of 4 of my Pokemon is gone. Nice. Now, Ursaluna doesn't have much HP left, so I think maybe I might have to go for a Protect. Just to avoid them getting a... Oh, they didn't bring the Shadow Rider at all. That's great. Okay, we're just going to go for the Farigiraf right here. And honestly, they might just follow me. And if they do, that's fine. We're going to click the Blood Moon. And my opponent forfeits. So you know what? That works out to be great. Necrozma didn't really have to do much. Kingambit just had a delightful time right there, which I'm kind of glad that we were able to get Kingambit to work, and especially since that was an Urshifu single strike. Very glad we got rid of that. Now, Shadow Rider could have been really bad, but I guess my opponent just really didn't want to play the Trick Room mindset, even though they did have the Imprison, which also good to know for my sake that Farigiraf does get Imprison. Anyways, good game to my opponent. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out this Dawn Wings Necrozma Trick Room team. We had some very good success here with the Psychic Seed and the Psychic Surge working in Necrozma's favor. We ended up playing up against a Coridon team that was looking to get into some shenanigans with a Swords Dance, and despite that Coridon restoring most of its HP with a +2 Drain Punch into Indeedee, we were able to shrug it off, get the Trick Room up, and then Expanding Force was able to seal the deal on not only the Coridon, but the Whimsicott as well. We were able to bring the Whimsicott down to its Focus Sash initially with the Expanding Force, and then when they went for the Tailwind, we got Trick Room up, ensuring Necrozma to be absolutely faster in Trick Room than the Incineroar and the Chen Pow. And despite my opponent having 2 Dark types on the field, that wasn't a problem because we popped the Terra Fairy on Necrozma. We shrugged off of the Snarl, and we didn't have to worry about that residual chip damage, and the Throat Chop coming off of the Chen Pal didn't deal much damage to Necrozma as well, so we were able to bring in Torkoal once Indeedee got knocked out, and we were able to seal the deal with an Eruption as well as Necrozma's Earth Power to finish off the Incineroar. And then we ended up going up against two different teams that had major threats to Necrozma in the form of Giratina Origin and Calyrex Shadow Rider. And neither one of those two restricted lands came to their respective battles, which was relatively nice because against the Giratina team, we had everything go right for our Hisuian, Lilligant, and Torkoal. We were able to go for After You, Eruption into Ogerpon Cornerstone, and Rillaboom. And the nice thing here too was we were able to go for our anti-fake out tech here with the Covert Cloak on Torkoal and the Terra Ghost on Lilligant. It was a 50-50 who was taking the fake out, and honestly, I think my opponent thought the Covert Cloak might have been on the Lilligant, so we popped that Terra Ghost. We were able to go for the After You, and the Eruption, despite taking a little bit of chip damage into Torkoal, still did some major damage to both that Rillaboom and the Ogerpon. Now, the Ivy Cudgel did come out of the Ogerpon dealing with Torkoal, but Necrozma was able to come in. We got the Trick Room up. Lilligant removed the Ogerpon for Necrozma with its Ice Spinner, and then we ended up having Urshifu Rapid Strike and Pelipper come in to deal with my Lilligant and my Indeedee. And thanks to Indeedee pulling away the Surging Strikes off of Urshifu, we were able to absolutely destroy it in the amount of recoil it took off of the Rocky Helmet. Lilligant finished it off with a Leaf Blade, and then we just had Pelipper sitting as a helpless little duck here because we had our Indeedee hold on with 4 HP, meaning we had a Follow Me ready to go for Pelipper's attack to be redirected and Lilligant to finish it off with its move of choice. And then against the Calyrex Shadow Rider team, we had a really good matchup for Kingambit because we not only had the Farigiraf and Ogerpon lead, my opponent didn't bring their Shadow Rider because they must have been scared of the Trick Room potential if Farigiraf went down. They had Imprison, so Necrozma didn't really like that, but Necrozma went for damage on the turn the Imprison came out, so we got the Moongeist Beam off into the Ogerpon Cornerstone, switched out Necrozma into our Blood Moon, sealed the deal on the Ogerpon with an Iron Head, and then despite Urshifu's Single Strike coming in, we were able to finish it off with the combination of Hyper Voice and Low Kick. Now, honestly, a Wicked Blow into my Ursaluna was definitely the much more favorable matchup if that had been a close combat. Not the greatest, but that just goes to show how much physical bulk Ursaluna does have. So we did have that work in our favor. The Wicked Blow just did most of the damage that it needed to do, but even with the Helping Hand boost, it wasn't enough to knock out the Ursaluna, so we were able to remove the Urshifu off of the field, leaving just the Terra Fairy Farigiraf and the Clefairy staring down my Kingambit with plenty of iron heads left at its disposal. So very good showcase for Kingambit there as well. Anyways, guys, I rambled on long enough. Let me know what you think of the team down in the comments below, and I will see you next time.